Welcome and thank you for joining us. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. As we start approaching midlife, many of us start listening to our bodies, but in a way where we wait until it starts screaming at us before we actually take any action. Perhaps we should have been listening to those more subtle cues, at a time that maybe it was tickling us a little bit, or perhaps even whispering, saying, hey, you need to pay attention before this gets a lot worse. Sort of like a screaming fire engine going down the street full bore through the intersection. On the program today, we're going to be talking about how we can start listening to our body to find out what's going on and how we can actually anticipate what we can do to be sure that we can avoid those kinds of emergency situations that cause us not feeling so good about aging. On our program today is author of the book, Hello, This Is Your Body Speaking. Is anyone listening? And she's joining us with more than 20 years' experience as a licensed massage therapist, and she's also specializes in movement analysis and does medical massage as well. I'd like to welcome to the Beyond 50 radio program today our guest, Miss Mary Wheeler. Mary, thank you for joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you for asking me to join you.
Oh, absolutely. Now, licensed massage therapist, you started this more than 20 years ago, so you must have really had a real, desire to help people just feel good, because I can't imagine going to massage anyone ever comes out feeling bad.
Hopefully not.
Unless they just don't do it well enough, right?
People get into massage for many, many reasons, and I needed safe and healthy touch, and that was one of the reasons that drew me into it, and I get that by giving it. So it's a give and receive profession.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a massage, you need to have a really good rapport with and trust the person who is touching you, and that's really important to pay attention to that aspect. And
to like them as well, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes.
Now, did you get into this because did you used to have people that say, hey, you're pretty good at this, or you just decided, this is the direction I want to go in my life?
Well, no, I didn't do a lot of touch. I didn't experience a lot of touch in my life.
Oh, I see.
And I had moved to a new town. I was a chiropractor's office, and I picked up an angel card, and it said education, and I was sitting there waiting for my visit, thinking about, what do I want to do that's different than what I'm doing right now? And I saw this poster on the wall that said it was a open house for a private massage school here in town, and it was that week. So I went to it, and also I was thinking about what a psychologist had told me, that massage might be good for me and that I might do well at it. So I went, and 2 weeks later I started the program. The school's program and my work schedule dovetailed perfectly, and it was amazing. Those first few weeks, I kept hearing them say, "This is a dance. This is a dance," and everything in my life up to that point seemed to contribute to what I was doing. I love to dance. I had been doing yoga for many years. I meditated. I was involved in martial arts. I had done gymnastics, mechanical drafting, the biomechanics, the geometry that I learned in there. And there's even more. There's just all these different pieces fed into what I did. Mm-hmm. It was a really amazing experience to just start feeling my life come, all the spokes make a wheel kind of thing. Right.
It's very exciting, too, when you find that you're kind of on, what you would kind of consider to be your destiny or your path, what you were meant to do here. Did you find that was going on with you quite a bit?
Yes, there was a lot of that was happening with massage, and there's so many things healings, different places in my life of healing that has happened by me being a massage therapist, and really awakenings of skills that I had encountered on my way that I didn't understand what to do with, or even it was hard for me to even accept that they were part of my skills. Mm-hmm. Like in college, I ran into this technical writing aspect, which is giving instructions, writing instructions, which is very different than English and grammar. In English, I barely passed. Technical writing, I got A's, but I didn't know what to do with it. And when I got licensed as a massage therapist, the school brought me in as a teacher. They thought I was great, and I'm like, this is really fun. I'm not sure what great means. I didn't know what it was like to receive a massage from myself,
Right.
So and I had a lot of self-esteem issues that I had to work through, and this profession just, when people keep coming back time after time and paying you money for something that you think is this really simple, easy thing to do, you let it in eventually that, you're good.
It's funny, Mary, because you touch on something that is so key, is that when you find your purpose, that passion, that's something that's uniquely you. I hear the same thing from people, and that is, I can't believe I'm being paid for this. Somebody's going to catch on sooner or later, and this just isn't going to last. And that's your issues, as you're saying, kind of coming up. Just relax and go with it.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right.
It's amazing, and it's very healing when you find what you're good at because you love to do it. It's easy, and every step of the way I've experienced that every step that I take, that I learn how to give and share something, then that becomes my own even more, and then I get the next piece. It's like the next building block comes every time I share that and make it my own. And this writing thing, giving giving for the technical writing, the movement analysis, and giving that with to people, it just is like this is what has turned into this book.
It's interesting when you talk about movement analysis, and as you go through your book, Mary, Hello, This Is Your Body Speaking, to me it was really resounding to get people to really pay attention. And I think, especially in America, that we tend to live as though our bodies were separate from us. And, we treat when we become sick, we wait until we become sick, then we go see a doctor to do something about it. When it comes to, let's say, athletic or health performance, we tend to push ourselves, the no gain, no pain, no pain, no gain, however that works, seems to be the motto of the day. And you find yourself just getting into situations that really are not only unnecessary, but can actually be extremely harmful. It's time to really pay attention to what your body is saying and to be in it, as you say in your book.
Definitely. We ignore, getting from point A to point B becomes more important than stopping and listening to the pain. And, when the pain is little, we can ignore it and push it to the side, And it's because we ignore it that it gets bigger. We keep doing the same thing that creates that problem. And so it's not resolved. We don't learn from it. And then pretty soon we're taking, medications, aspirins or, recreational drugs or alcohol or prescription medicine. Pretty soon we're talking to somebody about surgery. And sometimes it doesn't, move that far, but it's about ignoring the pain that it ever gets any worse. If we can, that's why we squirm in a chair, is because we're uncomfortable, and we're taught that it's not okay to squirm in the chair. So we learn that over and over as we age, and, we do it differently in different situations. But by ignoring the pain is how it grows.
Well, think of the bad habits we had as children when we were sitting in classrooms, slouching in our chairs.
Oh, no doubt. I sat on my heels.
Then we kind of continue to do that into our adult years.
You got it.
Let's talk about how something like that, because what I like you cover, and just for the listeners out there to let them know, this is a book that you really kind of go through in about 20 or 30 minutes. I was really surprised, but as you really chew on what you're talking about and you really think about, reflect, and implement what you're suggesting in here, you realize it starts getting a little bit deeper than the illusion of how short the book really is.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, because you can read the book in an hour, but if you pay attention and work with the individual pieces, you can spend many, many, many hours on one body part, of getting to know that body part and understanding how it works and what it feels like to sit in a chair and push into the floor with each foot and feel that weight change and how it comes up the body and where your ribs are and what's going on in the knees. And and how the bones are interplaying with the rest of the tissue, and what moves and what doesn't move, and what hurts and what feels good, where your weight is. It becomes a much bigger story or a much bigger activity than just, okay, what am I doing, how's that affecting me, and what can I do differently?
Now, Mary, you talk about how pain is much more than just an alarm going off, letting you know that, hey, we've got a problem down here, but it's a way that your body is communicating to you something much more. Now, what steps could you suggest, or what should people do listening today to begin to listen and to hear what that is saying, what their body is saying?
Okay, so when you have a pain signal in your body, okay, so when you feel uncomfortable, actually, can I step back and give you a metaphor and a little story and then come back to that?
Not only that, but that way everybody feels comfortable about what it is you're doing, so we don't feel uneasy.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
By all means, please.
Okay, because so I think of my body as a city, and I am the mayor of my city. And
a merry metropolis, in other words.
That's right. And
Very
everybody
good.
I see everybody as having their own wonderful little galaxy city. You can make it in many forms. But I have a city, and I have a water department, electrical department, management team, planning department, etc. And we all know that communication within a business structure of any kind, family unit, communication is key to keep everybody happy. That everybody has vacation time and pay and all of their benefits. And I also have unions, and unions group are some of my cells, my employees, my teams that band together and say, we don't like what's going on here, and when you don't listen to us, we're going to go on strike. And it shuts things down too. I had that happen more than once, but one in particular. I was in my late 20s, and up to that point, I had slept on my side every night, curled in a ball, my arms, chicken wings, hands stuck up under my pillow. And so that was one thing that was going on. And I had just taken a new job where I walked around with a clipboard all day in my left arm. At night, I had started to wake up more and more often with my arm just asleep dead. I couldn't move it. I'd have to roll over. Pins and needles, the circulation and the sensation and feeling came back. As soon as the sensation came back and I could move, I rolled right back over on my side and stuck my hand up under my pillow and went back to sleep. And I woke up one morning, and it wasn't asleep. So about 6 months into this new job, I woke up one morning, and it was hurt. I couldn't use my arm, and it was very painful. I would try to swing it out, grasp something with my hand. I couldn't hold the door. I couldn't hold the cup. There was nothing. So I went to the chiropractor that day, and he took x-rays. He did some work on me. I was feeling better, and he said, look, Mary, you have absolutely no curve in your neck. And so my arm had went on strike, and that was the point I was trying to make here. And the chiropractor gave me a pillow to go home that night and to lay on to get some curve in my neck. And I laid down on the pillow, and I went to sleep. And I slept really well all night long, about 6-7 hours, in a brand new position. But when I woke up in the morning, I hurt really bad, and I took that pillow and I threw it across the room. It's like I just tested the chiropractor. It's like I'm never using that again. Here I laid in a new position all night. My whole spine had changed. But that was good pain. My body really liked that, or I would have not slept 7 hours. And there was no, I didn't take some sleeping pills or anything to sleep that night, or pain medication. So and I slept on that pillow for years afterwards. After that first night, there's a difference between good pain and bad pain. And when your body goes through changes, a lot of times there is pain, but it's in moving in a better direction. You have to get to know what good pain and bad pain in your body is, and that's an individual thing. Mm-hmm. So that's my body, my metaphor for my body, and the story of my body going on strike. And so if you start to think about talking to your body and communicating with your body and listening to what it has to say, these cells are talking to you, and so when they start to talk to you and tell you that something hurts, it's like, if you will stop and pay attention to that in that moment when it's small little voice, it's often just, maybe I just need to like rearrange my clothes. I'm sitting on something a little bit funny that's pressing into the bone or the muscle, or this chair is too soft or it's too hard, or something along those lines. But often it's that we got to do what we're going to do, and we have to sit here to finish this job, or we got to get to where we're going, and we don't stop and pay attention. So now, I know I got off track. Bring me back to the question that you asked me.
No, you were totally right on track.
Okay.
You're doing fine.
Okay. Yeah. So you have to start listening to your body when you and if you make this initial contact. So in the book, there's a meditation that a visualization that it's a real short one, and you can expand on that. But it's going out and meeting your body and treating your body as if it's those cells or that body part is an individual. Shaking their hands, saying hi. Who are you? What's going on? What's happening? Are you comfortable? You got all the things you need? What can I do for you? And since this is a visualization in your mind, play with yourself. Don't worry about the images or the ideas that flash in your mind. This is in your own head. Nobody needs to know about it. And go with whatever you hear. And then as you develop that relationship, and the first time, I can guarantee you this, as soon as your body tells you there's a problem and you respond by changing something and there's a reaction of a positiveness, the body itself feels you responding and you recognize that you've responded to its signal, then you have established a relationship with your body of this pain signal going back and forth. And it will tell you, it's not like your pain is going to increase. You don't have to worry about like the pain getting worse. It's going to signal you that something's going on, and if you respond, then this grows, and it changes, and it evolves to whatever you need it to be or want it to be. And it's a wonderful relationship. It's like, I don't like to have pain, so as soon as I feel it, I recognize that it's telling me something. I said, okay, so what's going on? And it says, well, we would like you to do this, and I will change that, and then everybody's happy, because that body part doesn't like to be painful either. It's just the thing to grab my awareness and bring me there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an adventure of getting to know yourself differently in a different way, because we're taught to ignore pain instead of embrace it as that it's a friend.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that. It's quite amazing, I guess, what you would consider almost cliche is the idea, push through it, be tough, don't surrender, that sort of a thing. I'm thinking to myself, it's interesting that people would have an attitude like that, but they wouldn't treat their cars that way.
Oh, no way.
Well,
no
some
way.
would, but then again, you know how that turns out. But.
Yeah.
Now, I like that you had actually categorized your book in certain ways here, Mary, is that you talk about sitting, standing, walking, and lying down, and it's interesting to, like, for instance, one thing I notice with people, and I don't know what it is, maybe they just people that tend to walk with their feet pointed outwards. What's that all about?
Okay. Usually, feet pointed outward is it's a habit.
Okay.
Okay, it's a habit, and usually we pattern when we start to go from a baby and we start to stand up, and that we are patterning after the people that we see around us.
Really?
Because we walk. How many times have you heard somebody say, "Oh, I have the walk of my parents. It must be genetic. I walk just like my dad."
Wow.
We see the people around us, and that's how we start to move and hold our body in our body postures. It's this is one of those learned things of how we unfold. Now, there's a lot of other influences in that, but we pattern ourselves after the people around us that we see, and this goes for walking as well as anything else. But the feet turned out, there's a lot of, so when we'll go up and down the body here because the feet turned out is a lot of different things, but the pelvis is locked up, okay? And if you see somebody with their feet turned out and biomechanically the knee to walk, the foot has to roll forward, the heel has to roll over the toes, the knee has to bend, and the knee, the length of the shin and the length of the thigh is proportionate to your foot, so that swings out, that knee moves out, and your foot rolls through so that you can reach out and gently strike the floor with your heel, and you've not lost the shock absorber of your knee. So if your foot is pointed out to the side instead of straight forward, you are not going to be able to roll through that correctly because your knee is going to bend out over your toe.
Right.
Okay, and your foot's pointed out, and you're not going out to the side, you're going straight forward. So the heel lifts off the floor, but the knee only comes up so far, but you're going forward, so you roll over that big toe. So the weight goes from the heel to the big toe on a diagonal. And then the foot doesn't lift off the ground, so you scuff your heel on the floor, or you lift your hip, or you do a twisting motion on your toes, or to bring your foot off of the ground. And you will see that you usually there's one pattern in one foot and one in the other foot.
Mm-hmm.
So those and that creates the pelvis locked up. But then there's also a personality style. You will see men with their feet turned out to the side much more than you will see women, and this keeps the low back, the lumbar, and the pelvis very held, and the chest upright. There's not much twist going on between the upper and lower body. Women normally have a little bit more twist, but they have a lot more dropped chest, which either creates an arch in the low back, or there's other things that are created by having. Wherever your holding pattern is, your body creates different things, and it communicates different. It gives different visual images and creates different. It says different things.
Yeah, I thought that would be a good one to bring up, Mary, because you talk about pain patterns that get established, and that's one that's so common that I always hear people relating how they're tired or their back is always sore and hurting, and I'm thinking, well, take a look at the way you walk. That only makes sense that here your skeletal system and your muscular system and all these other systems within your body are making all these adjustments that are just very unnatural for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how you build a career as a licensed massage therapist. Go ahead and keep walking the way you're walking. That way I'll be insured, retirement and the whole bit, because you'll be coming in to see me.
Computers and held-down devices, I tell you what, I need to send, a Microsoft and Apple thank you letters, because it has created a whole world of business for me. Because it's not by a laptop and a cell phone is not ergonomically correct and never will be.
And that's what I wanted to bring up was the word ergonomics, because you see this a lot in now office furniture. I mean, this is right up there with greenwashing, I can almost call it. And some people, well, what the heck does ergonomic really mean? These are ergonomic shoes. This is an ergonomic chair, ergonomic desk. I guess the whole idea is this is the most natural state the body could be in if it has to sit at a chair at a desk all day long. And you go into detail really how that looks. But talk about ergonomics and how much of it really is real and how much of it is nonsense compared to what they're actually telling us out there.
Okay, so ergonomics in my mind has to do of using your body. So the chair and the computer is not what. See, that's something we've invented.
Right.
Up until that, we've invented chairs, and that we were squatting and we were walking and we were doing that body positions. And
we were moving a lot more than we are now.
Yeah, we're sitting tons. We are sitting tons, and we're sitting on soft surfaces versus hard surfaces. And when you sit on a hard or lay down on a hard surface, it forces it asks the bones to separate. The ligaments that hold the bones together have to be supple enough so that the bones spread so that you can relax onto that hard surface and then contract again when you stand up to move. Mm-hmm. And the bones are the rigid structures in our bodies, and they get ignored often, that they are even there. They are a framework. And then we have the connective tissue that connects the muscles to the bones, and it's the contraction and relaxation of oppositional tensions in the body that propel us forward. So that's also what holds us in a position to do anything, whether we're doing something that's repetitive motion And sitting in a chair at a desk is actually a repetitive motion. You are sitting in a rigid position.
Mm-hmm.
So ergonomics is all about how you use your body for whatever particular activity that you are doing. And if the sitting still is the repetitive motion, you need to get some action going in that. And that can be just adjusting yourself and moving, giving yourself some movement, even though it's 20 minutes before you stand up and stretch. You can move and breathe and shift your position while you're there. That aspect is even being good ergonomics. And this is all my opinion. So you have to think about the bony structure in your body. The way the bones are shaped so that they work together is another aspect, just like Lego blocks or a slingshot. A slingshot, if you pull the elastic back and you're holding the rigid structure and you let go of that, depending on where you have the elastic aimed and also the rigid, you might hit yourself in the hand or you're going to throw the projectile is going to go forward. So think about the framework and your basic concept, of what that joint is supposed to do, and have it in a good position while you are using it. And that will provide you with a guide for what is good ergonomics for whatever you're doing.
Gotcha. Okay. But for the most part, when they say this chair is ergonomic, it's kind of they're approaching this from a one-size-fits-all, and that may not be such a good thing to consider, right?
I do not think so.
Okay.
You have to take whatever surface you're working with and adapt it to your body. I mean, none of us are one size. We all have basically the same body parts, so many bones. We have a liver, kidney, heart, brain, all that. But we're infinitely different sizes.
Oh, I agree with you there.
So one chair, you walk into a conference room, it's the same chair for everybody in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I carry a footstool with me for to be in a conference room, and I sit on the front of the chair and I have my feet on a footstool. That's the only way I can sit in a conference for hours every day, because the backs of my legs will hurt, and it'll pull my low back out of place. So I take things with me to adapt to the situation I know that I'm going into. Mm-hmm. My computer chair, I have a footstool underneath it, and I have things set up for me there, but that's my chair and my space. But when I go into a public arena, I have to be prepared for what I might run into and how to take care of myself. So there's a little forethought, and that of being ergonomic, because those chairs are basically good chairs.
Right. Very exciting stuff. I mean, like I said, there's so much simplicity in what you present here in your book, Mary, but at the same time you can see how in degrees it gets a little more profound and a little deeper, and you start listening a lot more. And pretty soon, rather than being separate from your body as, hey, come along with me, we got to be over here, you start paying attention, realizing what it's like to be in your body. And that, I'm sure, from people that you've worked with and even yourself, is a completely different experience when you're self-aware.
It is. And, every person that I work with, it's very unique and different as to what they need to work on and how they hear the information and how I help them and, what it brings out. And I started to experience with people the thing that I saw happening when they started to realize that they could change a very small thing that they were doing, and the debilitating pain they were having disappeared, and it was all dependent on their activity of what they did. They changed one small thing, and all of a sudden their pain was gone, and they felt so empowered. All of a sudden, their life was theirs, and they had control, and it was very beautiful to start to watch of somebody stopped sleeping on their stomach, and all of a sudden their headaches were gone, and they were having bad headaches every day. Mm-hmm. And when they stopped sleeping on their stomach, the headaches went away immediately. And that can feel so powerful. It's a powerful experience.
And for some of you women out there, I know you may think they look sexy, but the high heels, they just have to go. I mean, I look at women wearing these things, and for one, just the way they walk doesn't even look comfortable, but they just don't look very comfortable. Those can be good for you.
They are tough on the feet, and they're tough on the low back, and it's a fashion statement. I have heels, and I spend most of my time flat-footed, and it took me barefooted, I should say, not even flat-footed. It took me a long time to learn how to walk in heels, and it's about your knee. You have to push that knee straight forward to walk with heels beautifully. But your pelvis has to be relaxed and open, and you have to tilt your pelvis differently when you walk with heels, or you're going to crunch your low back. Your butt's going to stick out, and you're going to walk funny, and you're going to create pain back there. So if you're going to be in heels, you got to learn to use them well. And being in heels and then out of them is, if you're going to wear them, you need to stretch those Achilles tendons in the bottom of your feet and the top of your feet. So it's, it can cause problems in your body.
So I'm guessing, Mary, that's going to be a whole separate book for you there?
It could be. This is the first book that I have ever written, and I tell you, I would never expect it to be an author. This was not on my bucket list or something I ever thought that I was going to do, and but I woke up one morning and I just said, I'm going to write a book, and this is the next phase of this is how I can take what I know this is how I can reach more people.
Mm-hmm.
I can only see so many people a day, a week, or in my lifetime, and the only way to take what I know and make it, bigger than me,
gotcha.
was to put it down on paper and to make it so I didn't have to be there.
The book is Hello, This is Your Body Speaking. Is anyone listening? Our guest today, Mary Wheeler. Mary, do you have a website people can find out more about you? Because I know one way you can get the book, obviously, is in softcover, but you can also get it as an e-book as well. But is there a website people can find out more about this?
Yeah, okay, so I'll tell you a couple things here. I have a website, and it's called touchofmary.abmp.com. I'll say that again, touchofmary.abmp.com, and that will have my contact information and my blog and all that stuff there, and even some, it'll have links to where you have to copy and paste the address. It's not a click-on link of where you can buy the books. Now, I am on Ingram's list, so your favorite bookseller can order this book. New Renaissance in Portland has softcover on hand, and the e-book is available in all formats. So wherever you like to buy your e-books from, you can buy it from them. And the publisher, BalboaPress.com, is the publisher, and you can buy the softcover or the e-book from them as well.
Okay. And if people wanted to shoot you an email, special message, questions, anything like that, is there a way they can do that as well?
Yes. touchofmary@aol.com.
touchofmary@aol.com. Okay,
yeah.
Great. Well, great stuff here. This is always encouraging to know that people, when they can get, good information out there about how they can guide themselves, like you said, it's that little adjustment that can make such a huge impact. Especially when they begin to manage things like pain through using pharmaceuticals. We already know a road that can take you down. And, being able to feel empowered that you can make these changes, very exciting stuff. And a simple book like Hello, This is Your Body Speaking is a great way people can kind of go in that direction. And, Mary, we want to thank you for being here on the Beyond 50 radio program. Give out your website again one more time.
touchofmary.abmp.com.
Very good. And we want to thank you for being on the program. We'll be sure to have a hot link on there for you as well. Mary, it was a pleasure to have you here on the program.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
You bet. We want to thank you, the listeners out there, for tuning in. Be sure to visit us at beyond50radio.com. We'll have a hot link there. You can find out more about Hello, This is Your Body Speaking, and you better start listening. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you again for tuning in. This is the Beyond 50 radio program. Remember, live your day past halfway.